Hey guys, it's Tuesday, January 12th. The time is 3:21 p.m. and the temperature right now is minus 1 degree Celsius. That was the intersection of Dundas and Spadina, which is the heart of the main Chinatown in downtown Toronto. And the plan for this walk is to head on through the neighborhood known as Alexandra Park. There's Willison Square. So this area to the north along Spadina is Chinatown, and it does stretch east and west along Dundas Street there for a bit. And let's head on into Alexandra Park. This neighborhood is bounded by Dundas Street to the north and Spadina Avenue to the east, where I just was. To the south would be Queen Street West, and to the west would be Bathurst Street. There's a number of public housing developments in this neighborhood, and it's currently undergoing a revitalization that was approved back in 2013. And it's kind of similar to what we're seeing in Regent Park, which is a similar neighborhood over on the east end of downtown. There's a look north up to Dundas Street. So a lot of the housing units, just like this one, have been replaced recently, and they will continue to do so. One of the goals is zero displacement. So some of these residents have been temporarily relocated while new housing is constructed for them. This here is Grange Avenue, and it turns into Cameron Street. There's a look at the Alexandra Park Community Center. So now I'm currently walking south on Cameron Street. And it wasn't really snowing when I left, but there seems to be a fair bit of this wet snow coming down. So this area is to be a mix of affordable rentals and public housing, along with market-priced condos. So these here are all part of the older housing development, and I think that goes back to around the 1960s. Originally in the 20s and 30s, this neighborhood was occupied by Polish and Ukrainian immigrants. And these developments, I'm assuming, would be all part of a post-war building spree, not unlike Regent Park. And gradually, this area fell into decline. And in the 80s, it was kind of known for violence and drug use and prostitution. And there was even some gang activity that lasted into the 90s. Here's a look at some of the newer townhome style condos that have gone in. That is Paul Lane Gardens. There's another new condo development. So off in the distance there is Queen Street West. I'm trying to keep an eye on the viewfinder here to make sure no snow hits it. Perhaps I'll stop and wipe it off every now and then. There's 38 Cameron Square. I think Tridel is the developer primarily responsible for most of the new buildings. I've seen their sign up on Dundas Street, where I will eventually get to. It just appears a rather neat laneway that's filled with some interesting graffiti. So I think rather than head across Queen Street, which I've featured a number of times on this channel, we'll go for a stroll through there. I'm not seeing any official street sign or name for it though. The city had undertaken a project to name all the laneways. There's one on the other side that is interrupted by construction, but that would have connected to Spadina Avenue. So on the left here would be the backs of a lot of the retail shops that front Queen Street West. And I think this here is Vanauley Street. You can see there's been a number of new housing developments on that street. I think by 2024, most of the plan was to be completed. A lot of the existing housing was to be torn down and replaced, and some of it is being refurbished. And this is Queen Street West, and there's one of the many cannabis stores that have popped up in this neighborhood, and pretty much every neighborhood in Toronto that has a lot of retail. So I'll just walk on over to Augusta Avenue, which should be the next street, and then we'll head north. So far the camera lens seems to be relatively clear, which is a bit surprising given the volume of wet snow that's falling down. And just to the south of here, parallel to Queen Street West, is Graffiti Alley. And here is Augusta Avenue with a former Kentucky Fried Chicken. And there's some neat artwork on this building. And there's a really beautiful old structure just up ahead here, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to come down, or rather head up this part of Augusta. There it is at 25 Augusta Avenue is the Edward Leadley House, or Leadley, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. There's a gentleman standing in front of it right now. But that was built back in 1876. And it served as a Salvation Army from 1906 to 1937, and it's been since occupied by the Felician sisters. I'm assuming they're a religious group. This part of Augusta is rather interesting. We have much older homes on the left and some of that newer development on the right. This area is really a bit of a hodgepodge. And I think when all is said and done, it'll have more of a cohesive look to it. And traditionally, it has been the second lowest income neighborhood in the city of Toronto, next to only Regent Park. So perhaps that'll no longer be the case once this mixed-use development is completed. There's a look back towards Cameron Street. And on the left is Randy Padmore Park. I know one of the goals of this redevelopment will be to provide a lot more green space in the area. And a lot of these homes are part of the Atkinson Housing Co-op. And what's interesting about that is they were previously not part of the co-op until about 1992. So this area had fallen into such a state of decline then. Thank you. That the units were converted into co-ops. There's Arthur King Lane. It certainly doesn't have a very cohesive neighborhood feel to it. There were a number of older apartment-style buildings straight ahead, but they've been torn down to make way for some of the new development going in. Just on the other side, Augusta Avenue actually continues and goes right up the heart of the rather popular Kensington Market neighborhood. I'm assuming at one point Augusta Avenue went all the way through, but it got cut off right here when they first developed this area. Or rather put in these housing developments. So maybe we can go up and take a closer look. So buildings like this used to span all the way across Dundas Street here. It looks like they've done no excavation on this land yet. It's kind of an interesting look. And maybe, just to be on the safe side, I'll give the camera lens a rub. So this here is Grange Avenue. A number of these homes will be preserved, so I'm wondering if these ones are some of the lucky ones. I did look at the master plan of this area quite a while ago, but it was rather large and confusing, and it's difficult to really get a grasp on all of the changes going on here, so I thought I would just come and explore it along with you guys and take a look around for myself. And here is Ryerson Junior and Senior Public School. Schools are currently closed to in-class learning in the province, and they will remain that way for quite some time, actually, at least until February, given the new announcements that the province just issued today. And just on the other side of here is Alexandra Park itself, where this neighborhood gets its name from. I'm trying to think of the last time I even recorded this street on this channel. There's a couple of beautiful old homes right there. And the other side of the park I just went by a few minutes ago. There's a look down Carr Street. And that building is part of the Alexandra Park Cooperative. I don't know why I pronounced it that way. So I'll just make a right here at the next street. I thought those were kind of neat looking homes. And again, that's Queen Street to the south. And here's an old church. There we go, 1879 is when this dates back to. That is St. Stanislaus R.C. Church. So this here should be Wolseley Street. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm looking for a street sign to verify that, and I didn't see one. Sometimes if I'm not sure where I am, I'll avoid mentioning it. Then when I get a glimpse of the street sign, I'll bring it up as if I knew all along where I was. These homes wouldn't look too out of place in Cabbagetown. Perhaps a little more run down than what you would see in Cabbagetown, but they seem to be of the appropriate style. And this is Ryerson Avenue. Here's a old building. I'm sure there's an interesting story behind this. Maybe there's a plaque on it. And it has really started to snow now. And there's the Theatre Passé. I'm trying to think how you would say that. Marais? I've read about this theater before. I know this is primarily a non-profit theater, and they actually own this building. I think at one point it was even closed down by the police for being indecent or immoral at some point in the 70s in one of their productions. And if I'm not mistaken, that building was originally a bakery. It was only later in its life that it was converted into a theater space. Okay, now we've just got full-blown snowing going on right now. So hopefully this camera won't be a sacrificial lamb. There's not too much more to cover in this walk. I wanted to pass up through Alexandra Park and then walk along Dundas Street back to pretty much where I started. So this is Carr Street again. There's a look towards Bathurst Street. And there at 77 Ryerson is the Alexandra Hotel. I looked this one up on TripAdvisor before, and it's a pretty basic 3-star hotel, but it's quite cheap. So if you're looking for a particularly good value, you might want to look into that. The location's certainly pretty good. You're near Kensington Market and the Spadina streetcar and the Bathurst streetcar. You have Queen West just to the south. There's a look at the school we walked by earlier. Hello? I'm just making a video. Sorry, have a nice day. She was handing out food, and I guess she mistook me for one of the people.
Hi there.
Hello?
Would you like some wonton soup?
I'm okay. I'm good, thank you. There's someone offering me soup. It's good to know that there's people out making sure these people are taken care of and have nice warm meals. I certainly, as much as I would like to have some wonton soup, would feel a bit guilty if my meal came at the expense of someone who needs it more than me. Still, good on those people for helping out. So this is the park where this neighborhood gets its name from. There's a community center and a public library on the corner of Dundas and Bathurst there. And there's a couple of outdoor skating surfaces, and it looks like the Zamboni is making its way onto the ice. I wonder if the city will keep these ice rinks open, given that the province has just issued a new stay-at-home warning today that'll go in effect on Thursday. I recently passed through here on a walk I did up Bathurst Street. So there's this ice surface here, and then there's a fenced-in hockey rink right beside it. That was ballsy. There's a look south. That is Bathurst Street on the right. And a look in at the Zamboni doing its thing. Maybe just to be on the cautious side, I'll wipe off the camera lens again. My gimbal did not like that. So there's the Spadina Court Community Center. And on the corner here used to be a really old hall or mansion right on Bathurst and Dundas. That's where the library now sits. I think that's the Sanderson branch. Yep. I might as well have just read it off the sign of the library. So that is Dundas Street West, just up ahead. And here's where that old hall used to be. I think it was owned by a rather wealthy Polish immigrant. I might be wrong on that. And now it's a rather nondescript library. The City of Toronto certainly has some gems in the library department, although I don't think this qualifies as one. It's rather basic. There's Toronto Western Hospital across the street. And now I'm heading east along the south side of Dundas Street West. And just here on the right is Market 707, and that's a food market made out of old upcycled shipping containers. I've only eaten here a few times, and I'm embarrassed to say I don't even remember at which places or what I had. This is certainly a neat idea and an interesting addition to the city. And unfortunately, you can't even grab a meal and eat it on these picnic benches. I personally think that's kind of a silly restriction. And at this park, there's even an outdoor swimming pool right there. It's kind of neat. I was not aware of that. So this is sort of the western end of Chinatown. There's a place called Buddha's Vegan Restaurant. And there's another place called Green's Vegetarian just up on the left. So if you like your Chinese food vegetarian style, this would be the spot. There's the school on the right. And we'll be heading past that new development we saw from the other side at the north end of Augusta Avenue in a minute. There's Denison Avenue. I think I forgot to mention the name of that street when I walked down it. Maybe I'll remember to put a subtitle on the screen, probably not. There's a look south. And I think I saw recently there's a few new development proposals going into this area. Everything on the north side of the street over there would be Kensington Market and Chinatown. And if you like this walk, let me know in the comments. And I'll see about doing a similar trip through Regent Park in the near future. I already have it planned, but I have a lot of things planned that I never actually get around to. And here's Augusta Avenue. So this is where it continues and heads up through Kensington Market. There's the Atkinson Housing Co-op. So what I'll probably do is just go north up Spadina on the streetcar to Spadina Station, and from there I can take line 2 east over to Bloor Young Station, then I can take line 1 north back home. I actually recorded a walk just before this, just to talk about some of the new restrictions going in place by the government. And there is Kensington Avenue. So I'm pretty sure at some point these housing units will be cleared out. Either that or completely modernized and refurbished. I don't know, is refurbished the right word for an old apartment building? Sounds like something you do to a piece of electronics. Van Tuan Delivery, the best Asian food. I've seen some Asian food specific delivery companies popping up, and some of them you can't even navigate the apps in English entirely. There's juicy dumplings. All right, and we have come full circle back to Dundas and Spadina. I hope you enjoyed this walk around Alexandra Park. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. There are links to my Patreon if you wish to support the channel, as well as my Instagram account, which I seldom update. You can also check out channel memberships on the main page. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.